To be honest, I feel like Taiwan is one of the best countries to be at when you're pregnant. And not just pregnancy, birth experience too. The whole system that they have in Taiwan. In Taiwan, they have such a great thing that is called Toyot. And I feel like every country in the world should adopt the system. In Kazakhstan, they would criticize the government, they would criticize the system. But then what I see in Taiwan is like, if you want this change, there's actually a chance of making it. Like there's an active law, there's parties, there's like people are pushing their ideas. And like, I was so shocked to see like, it was just a protest where basically they wanted to be their own government or something. Like, I remember I was so impressed because I was there, I was like, wow, in Kazakhstan, that would be shut down like this. Like, they would be already like, they would be holding the water fountains or something, pouring water on those poor guys. Because there's no, like, in my experience, there hasn't been a real freedom of speech.
Today is the world premiere for the first guest ever from Kazakhstan, Paula.
So my name is Paula Ilaria Cosino. I am an animation visual effects producer. Recently, I've been also working in multimedia, AI. I have moved to Taiwan about 6 years ago. I moved to Taiwan because of my husband, who is Taiwanese. I met my husband in the States. We were studying in the same university. There was a lot of visa issue, and then his father had some health problems, so he had to go back first. It was between either moving with him and moving to Taiwan or going on another company and doing another project. So I felt like I had to choose. And you
choose love.
I chose love.
Yeah. What a story. How much did you know about Taiwan before coming here then?
I did not know what Taiwan is until I met my husband. We know, actually in Kazakhstan, we know Taiwan as Formosa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of people still call it Formosa Island, which I think is very endearing because there is no way in hell you will confuse Thailand and Formosa.
Honestly, I had never heard Formosa until like I had already lived in Taiwan for like 4 or 5 years.
Huh.
How do you say the name like Taiwan? Like is it Kazakh or Russian you speak?
We speak both. I like to say that it's like, you can say Russian is our Chinese and Kazakh is our Taiwanese.
Oh,
to get the good reference.
Gotcha. Now I understand exactly. Yeah. So how do you say what you now call Taiwan in Kazakh?
Yeah, it's same, Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yeah, it's
and in Russian?
Taiwan.
But you said you call it Formosa.
No, Formosa is what we know it as, and we call it Formosa. It's like direct, like it sounds basically the same.
Okay.
But there is still the name Taiwan. It's just that people didn't at least used to use it. Maybe they use it more now after the pandemic and everything this way.
Okay.
But from what I remember, and my family, my relatives, like we used Formosa, like Formosa is a way to describe Taiwan before.
What was like the first thing your husband taught you about Taiwan? Or what did you know after being with him for 6 years before coming to Taiwan?
Well, first thing is, I still remember that when we went on a date long time ago, I was so impressed and shocked when he started talking Chinese in the restaurant. I was like, wow, he speaks Chinese too? And Taiwanese?
Okay.
Because I didn't know that in Taiwan people speak Chinese. When we were together for, I want to say, 1.5 years, he invited me to come to Taiwan to just visit. Right now, I think maybe more people speak English than back in that time. It was a while ago, but still, I just remember not being able to communicate with most people. And I think maybe people were also shy to talk to me. And all I knew was like, 你好,你好,吗好. That was it. Like, it was like the line.
Wow, 你的中文好标准哎.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to answer if this is like too personal, but like being like pregnant and the pregnancy as a foreigner in Taiwan. Like, I mean, I'm a guy, so it's not really going to affect me that much. But I can imagine you never thought about being pregnant in Taiwan either. If you don't mind sharing, like, how was like that whole process? And was there anything that was different based on like how you expected it to be, like because you were in Taiwan?
Yes, I think I want to say that, to be honest, I feel like Taiwan is one of the best countries to be at when you're pregnant. Just from my experience, like when you're pregnant, people were treating me so well. I mean, not that people treat me like shit anyway, but like people were so extra nice and like attentive, which coming from strangers, it kind of shocked me at first. Like I would go into, I don't know, a cafe or something and people will bring pillow.
Oh, like for the back?
For the back. Yeah, and you know, like I was pregnant with twins, so I was huge. And like in terms of care, again, Taiwanese healthcare is quite affordable in general. But because of that, you can also afford a pretty good, like even private clinics are pretty affordable. Like especially if you compare to Europe or States, it's very nice, very affordable, and they have a good technology at their disposal. And when I went to any clinic or hospital, I don't expect doctors to speak English. I don't expect you to speak English with me. I will do my best to speak Chinese with them because, you know, we are in Taiwan. We're supposed to speak Chinese. But I found out that actually a lot of doctors do speak English. And I found this super helpful when it came to terminology. Like, you know, because, well, I might be able to communicate with you like in general, but when it comes to terminology that has to do with pregnancy, that even in English, I'm like, let me translate.
And speaking about speaking English, that is exactly something that you can learn from the sponsor of today's video, Funday. You should already know that Funday is an English learning platform for anyone who is considering improving their English skills, regardless of your current English level. But something that you may not know is that Funday recently added a lot more functions and tools to their website. Not only can you watch all available classes in their video library, you can now also download lesson plans and even download the actual class recordings themselves, so you can take your next Funday class literally whenever and wherever you want. They also have a brand new YouTube channel where they talk about Taiwanese related and global news in English. And maybe my favorite new function is the TOEIC mock test, where you can practice for your upcoming TOEIC test as many times as you want.
Look at the picture. Select the one statement that best describes what you see in the picture. A. Rows of cherry blossom trees are in full bloom along a peaceful river bank. B. Thousands of solar panels are capturing sunlight. C. A pod of dolphins is leaping out of the water in synchronization. D. Colorful prayer flags are fluttering in the wind at a Himalayan mountain pass.
As always, if you want some more information regarding Funday, please do not hesitate to click the link down in the description. But for now, I think it's time for us to continue with the rest of this video.
And not just pregnancy, birth experience too. You know, the whole system that they have in Taiwan. In Taiwan, they have such a great thing that is called Toyot. I don't know if you've heard about it yet.
1 month relaxation for the mom.
Basically, yeah. And I feel like every country in the world should adopt the system.
That's what I hear. Everyone who talks about this, they're saying like, I don't understand why this is not available in my country.
Yeah, because like, especially in Taiwanese culture, Chinese culture, in Asian countries, mom, when she has a baby, she will be taken care of for the first month or around that time by her mother-in-law, by her mom, or her relatives. Or some centers, like in case of Taiwan, you have 月子中心, which is super helpful. I am so grateful that I had this experience, especially having twins with all of the complications and everything. It was great to have this support in the very beginning. And I honestly don't know how that would have been have I not had this opportunity. So that was a really nice experience. In Kazakhstan, usually after you give birth, you'll have like maybe a few days in a hospital, 2-3 days in a hospital, and then you're going back home where you have to take care of your house, of your husband, of your newborn, or maybe other kids if you have other kids. Like you're just like in the survival mode immediately, which I think is so hard. Where I think in Taiwan is so amazing that like in general, like you don't have to be rich to necessarily like, because月子中心, they have different levels. And I feel like a lot of people can afford them. You really take your time. You have time not just to recover. You can also adjust and like really take time to appreciate just becoming a parent. You can really take time to bond with your child and your husband as a family. And I remember those, like that first month was so precious because I didn't feel, even though like, again, having twins, which in any other situation, it would be a survival mode.
Okay, well, congratulations. I'm very, very happy for you. I also wanted to take this opportunity to also learn a little bit more about like Kazakhstan. Comparing Kazakhstan and Taiwan, how do you explain for like Taiwanese people how life in Kazakhstan is? What is like the biggest differences?
Well, first of all, we're the 9th biggest country in the world, which means it's not as safe as Taiwan because you cannot install cameras everywhere and monitor everyone as easier and, you know, have the order. It's interesting because it's so different, but fundamentals are same. You know, what I found out is that, like, in terms of, we're so different because I feel like 哈萨克比较保守. But at the same time, when it comes to, you know, the principles and, like, the family mindset, those things actually we share a lot. Even, like, you know, things like living with parents is quite common in Kazakhstan. Yeah, I think family values, I feel like, are quite similar. You know, that's how it also was a little bit easier for me to adjust to my family-in-law, is because actually in the roots of it, we have a very similar upbringing. And also because I'm a little bit more traditional in Taiwanese perspective, you know, I cook, I clean, I have the wife training.
Wow.
Wife training.
Okay.
But yeah, it's because we are, at least in my generation, I cannot speak for the newest generation. And again, I have to note that I haven't lived actively for a long period of time in Kazakhstan. In general, if we're speaking in general, that's also part of the reason I felt like I could probably not be with a Kazakh guy, is because I am independent. And I feel like a lot of times, like especially like in Kazakhstan, from dating and everything, I always felt like guys want a woman that would be dependent on them and would be like kind of a woman who would want to stay home and doesn't want to work. And like they expect that and just want to have kids and like take care of the house while they go out and work, like, and don't have any interest or life of her own. In Kazakhstan, they would criticize the government, they would criticize the system, but then what I see in Taiwan is like, if you want this change, there's actually a chance of making it. Like there's an active law, there's parties, there's like people are pushing their ideas. And like, I was so shocked to see like, it was just a protest where basically they wanted to be their own government or something. Like, I remember I was so impressed because I was there, I was like, wow, in Kazakhstan, that would be shut down like this. Like, they would be already like, they would be holding the water fountains or something, pouring water on those poor guys. Because there's no, like, in my experience, there hasn't been a real freedom of speech. Where in Taiwan, you can actually see that. And you can actually see that, like, election matters and people care about it. Where in Kazakhstan, we always had this mindset of, like, what election? Like, I've never voted in my life.
Oh, really?
I've never voted in my life because we were always, like, coming from a country that used to be part of Soviet Union and then basically handling, like, we didn't really choose our leaders, I want to say. And then after that, we kind of all just, like, we didn't really feel like anything we do or say matters. And that's why there was a lot of mindset of, like, leaving the country. And that's why there was a lot of criticism. Right before the war in Ukraine, and there was a huge revolution in Kazakhstan, actually. And so ever since then, there has been a lot of changes. But I think maybe I'm going too deep with this.
How should a Taiwanese tourist prepare, or what should they expect for 1 week visit in Kazakhstan?
I would say one thing they need to prepare is that Kazakhstan is very big. Like, realistically, you would take a much long time for transportation. So if you're planning to visit multiple spots, now English is getting better. I want to say, like, especially major cities like my city, Almaty, or Astana, which is the capital, people speak more English there. But then if you want to go and see, like, mountains, or because we have a lot of beautiful nature, and that's what really attracts tourists, you better either have a guide, local guide, who can help you through those things.
Kazakhstan sounds like cold, though.
In winter.
Okay.
Sure, we have all 4 seasons. We don't have an ocean. So therefore, we don't have much of seafood, at least like good seafood. So I don't recommend having any seafood in Kazakhstan. And actually, for that reason, I don't like seafood.
Now you've already, like, no Taiwanese is ever going to go and visit Kazakhstan. If they don't have seafood, like, no tourists ever.
Well, there is good meat.
But did you say that you don't like seafood?
I don't like seafood. Because we don't have ocean, there are people that love seafood and people that don't like seafood. Because we don't have ocean and we don't have our own seafood. So actually, my parents, my younger brother, they love seafood. And I'm the old ones out.
So you could still, like, eat it, like, you can find it in Kazakhstan. It's not like...
Yeah, it's imported. So it's not the freshest and not the best quality. So I don't know why would you. But if you really want to, you can.
Gotcha, okay.
And when they go abroad, like when they come to Taiwan, they really enjoy seafood here. And I'm like, good for you guys.
I know 2 things about you. You attend Taiwanese TV shows and you have won International Film Festival Awards. You're an animator producer.
Animation producer, yeah.
So an animator is like a person that draws or, like, you know, sketches animations.
Yes, or 3D looks a little bit different, but basically they are responsible for the movement of the character of the things.
Right. Why would those people need a producer?
make sure that the vision comes to life, basically. It's not like, oh, this person started to do character design and they did perfect job right away. There's going to be a ton of notes, and that's just the character design stage. We're not even like into animation yet. Actually, fun fact, I am a first ever published manga artist in Kazakhstan. The first.
Oh, wow.
Just a fun fact, because we got comics and manga way later.
Okay.
So now there are other published artists, but I was the first. I can say that.
Wow. That's super cool.
For an example, let's take my animation that I've directed, The Ribbon, which I will show you. So it's a 2D animation. It's for a little over 4 minutes long, and it took us 4 years to make it.
4 years.
4 years.
Like, I don't want to sound like I don't appreciate the art here, but
do you suck at your job?
but I mean, kinda. Like, why does it take 4 years?
Every single artist in our team came together and worked on this project because they loved the idea and they believed in it, and that's how we made it happen. We all worked on it in our free time, which was like, when I look at it, especially now, it's like, it was insane. It was insane amount of work, and we didn't have any money in it.
That was a short film that gave you an award in Korea?
Rome, like we've got over 50 awards all around the world, including Taiwan.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I just bring up one.
No,
50 awards.
Over 50, yeah.
Wow. For people who might recognize you, you said you've attended like TV shows here in Taiwan. If people want to either get to see these like short animations or longer animations, or just want to like know more about you and connect with you in any way, where should they go? Like, can we invite them to your Instagram page or something like that?
Sure. I have 2 Instagrams. One is called Kazakh Girl in Taipei, which is, I consider my personal Instagram, but I also do announce like all of the big projects or what's going on in the company there. And my second art Instagram is called Cosino Art, ongoing webcomics. So I also like make updates about my webcomic on it, but also if I have any fun, exciting projects or stuff that I work on with my art or like the production, I also upload it there. Or if you're just curious to see my art, you can go there.
And you have an IMDb page as well, like all international award-winning directors, producers, animators, whatever, everything else that you're doing. And of course, you have links to everything down in the description as well, if you want to find some more information and maybe get some more inspiration to maybe become an award-winning animator, director yourself. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. Starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.